G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another NRL video. My name's Cody and today I will be bringing you my semi-final week 2 tips of 2020 of the 2023 NRL final season. Now last week we saw two thrashings and two relatively good games. One excellent game, I should say, sorry. Now for tips last week, I only got a measly 1 out of 4. Yep, that's right. I got 1 out of 4. The Knights were the only team I got correct. Oh well, knew the Warriors would lose by that much. Didn't expect Melbourne to lose like that, and especially the long winning streak has ended against the Broncos and the key players they've missed, which I'll get into very shortly. But yes, only 1 out of 4. Wow. Well, hopefully we can get 2 out of 2 for this week. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first finals game. But before we get into the finals games, I'm just going to recap for what happened last week. So, first game kicked off last week was the Broncos and Storm game, rematch from round 27. Broncos were too good in that game. 26-0 they won. So Melbourne are playing in week 2 while the Broncos are off to the preliminary final for the first time since 2017. I think that's the last time they made a prelim, or 2015. It's one of them 2 years. And also Melbourne going to semi-final. Wow. And for our second game, we had the other qualifying final, which was the Panthers against the Warriors at Bluebet last week. Warriors, I mean, got to give them credit. They put in a great effort, but Panthers were too strong. They won 32-6. So Warriors are the other losing team they will play this week as well. And Penrith will go to another prelim final. Yeah, I just want them to lose. That's all I want. And as for the elimination final games, we had the Sharks and the Roosters. Sharks, oh, they choked. They choked in that game. It's the third year or whatever they've done this. The third game in a row, I should say. I mean, they lost in straight sets last year. They lost against the Cowboys 32-30 in a 93 Classic. They lost, and they were thrashed against my boys last year at Allianz 38-12. Straight sets, mind you. They can never learn, can they? And the Roosters move on. Roosters will play Melbourne, which that will be the first game I'll get into. And as for the last game, the Knights and the Raiders. What a game that was. Raiders led 16 points to 6 at half time. Knights catch up from Ponga. Jack Whiten, he bitted Tyson Gamble, which was uncalled for, and I don't know how he did not get sin bin for it or sent off, but as of this recording, he will be referred to the judiciary, so he will miss a round 1 debut most likely for the Bunnies. I don't know how many weeks he'll get, probably 3 or 4 most likely. And as for the game itself, Knights won in extra time, 30 points to 28 from a penalty goal, which, funny enough, was from Jack Whiten. So he's public enemy number 1 up there in Newcastle. There's the recap. Oh, sorry. And the Knights will go on to play the Warriors in New Zealand on Saturday afternoon. Now, with the first week of recap, now let's get into the second week of the finals, and it's the semi-finals of 2023, and the first game to kick off at Amy Park on Friday night at 7:50 p.m. This will be both on Fox and free to air, so Channel 9, KO's not free to air, but you know what I mean. It is the Melbourne Storm taking on the Sydney Roosters. Now, Roosters, they lost Manu, they lost Joseph Suoli'i. Most likely both won't be playing this week. Manu reactivated his hamstring, and I believe Suoli'i was a Category 1. So if that's the case, he will not be playing this week, but could potentially play next week if the Roosters are to succeed. And as for Melbourne, they lost a couple injuries. They lost Mario Save to a HIA. I think Trent Loretto as well. And the two main ones, Xavier Coates, I believe it's a cystinosis injury, so he will be out for this week's game, major blow. And the main one, Ryan Paffenhauser, third game back, and he's done another injury. It was believed it was a compound fracture of the around the ankle area, but from what we've heard, it is not. So it's fully speedy recovery for Ryan Paffenhauser. It was such a horrific injury. It was not good. It was so sad to see him go. I mean, it took him 13 months to return to the NRL. It's so sad, but hopefully he gets very well, and hopefully he'll be back for round one. But anyways, let's get into the game, shall we? So the Storm take on the Roosters at Amy Park. These two teams have met twice this year, with the Storm coming out both on top, 28 points to 8 at Amy Park, and the other one was at the SCG. Roosters lost 30 points to 16. Now, these two teams have met in 4 finals games, with Roosters having a 3-1 record. First time they met was back in 1998, Melbourne's first ever year. They finished third that season. Melbourne lost 26 points to 12 in the major preliminary semi-final. So it was like 4 or 5 finals for 1998, as it was a 10 final system. I believe that one was called or whatever. But these two will not meet for another finals game until 2015, where they met in the, I believe it was the qualifying final. Yeah, sorry, my apologies. It was the qualifying final between the Roosters and Melbourne. Storm got that one, and they went to the preliminary final for 2015 until they got beaten by the Cowboys. 20 points to 18. Melbourne won this game, so 1-1. And then we go to 2019. We go to the preliminary final this time, saying Roosters quite comfortably won that one, 14 points to 6 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And Melbourne went out in the preliminary final. Roosters went on to beat the Raiders in the grand final. That one for that year in 2019. And the most recent meeting, they made the grand final in 2018 first, and Roosters won that one 21 points to 6. And then 2019, these were the last time these two met in the finals, which Roosters won 3-1. So these two have met in 2 previous finals within the last 5 years, which I think is excellent. And in the past 10 games between these two as well, Melbourne have won 8 of the past 10, which includes winning 7 of the last 8. The last time the Roosters won, which was in Melbourne, was last year, was 18 points to 14, where they beat the Storm. So for this one, it's a tough one. Melbourne's got quite a few people out injured, but also does the Roosters. And Tupou could be coming back as well for the Roosters. It's a tough game, but Melbourne don't lose 2 in a row that often, and it's back in Amy Park. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go Melbourne for this one in a tight one. I'll go Melbourne by 6. I'm going to go score. I'm going to go, let's go 18-12. Melbourne wins. All right, hopefully I can get a tip correct. Let's go Melbourne. Screw the Roosters, by the way. And now we move on to our final semi-finals of 2023 before we go to preliminary finals next week. We're going back to Mount Smart Stadium or Go Media Stadium. I'm not calling it Go Media Stadium. That's a terrible name. I'm going to call it Mount Smart. It is the New Zealand Warriors taking on the Newcastle Knights at Mount Smart Stadium, kicking off, it is, at 4 p.m. or 4:05 p.m. our time here, at 6 p.m. kickoff over there. So we've got an afternoon kickoff here for a semi-finals game, which is a bit unusual, but only because Warriors, they're 2 hours ahead, they don't want to play too late, which I think is fair enough. I mean, good on them. Sucks that they lost last week. Now the Warriors coming off a brutal loss against the Panthers. Panthers were too good in that one, 32 points to 6. Warriors show some guts. They'll be back in front of their home faithful. I think the last time they had a home finals in some sort of way, and I think it was a semi-final as well. I think it was back in 2008, and they beat Melbourne in the first week of the finals. I think it was an 18-15 scoreline, and I think they beat. Not quite sure who beat don't know who the Warriors beat in the semi-final. I know they won that game. I think it was. Was it it was either the Roosters or Manly. It's one of them. I think it was the Roosters they beat. I think it was the Roosters. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the last time the Warriors had a home semi-final or home final in some sort of way. And as for the Knights, what a game they had last week against the Raiders. Extra time, 28 all at 80 minutes, and a penalty goal, which resulted in the game finishing 30 points to 28 after Jack Whiten did like some high shot or something on Ponga. Ponga went for the two. Game over. Excellent game. Definitely a top 5 game of the year. But good on the Raiders for losing. They didn't deserve to make the top 8 the way the points differential was, but give them credit. They did play very well. And as for Knights, 10 in a row. And that crowd was electric, even though they were very quiet going into halftime, obviously, because Knights were back. But the only thing that's lacking the Knights is experience. They felt they were 10 points behind, and luckily they caught up on the back of a Jack Whiten binding incident. He did not get sin bin for it. Yeah, I know he's come to my boys next year, but he should have been sin bin at least. That was ridiculous. And he's got to get a couple of weeks for it too. Now, in the past 10 games between these two, Knights have won 6 of the past 10. But funny thing is, Warriors have won. Knights have won 4 of the past 5. Now, these two have met in New Zealand this year, but the Warriors won on that one 20 points to 12, and that was in Wellington at Sky Stadium, or Westpac Stadium, or whatever it's called now. And these two met also in April up in Newey, where the Knights won 34-24 in a high scoring. The last time these two have met at Mount Smart was back in 2019, however, and the Knights won that one 36-18, but the Warriors last one at Mount Smart against the Knights in 2018 when they won 20 points to 4. And these two have never met in the finals games either. I'm pretty sure they haven't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what the research I've done, they've never met in the finals game. So this will be the first time both of these have met. This is going to be a cracking game. Shaun Johnson will be returning for the Warriors. He was a massive blow. Once he was ruled, they weren't going to win. Even Johnson did play against Penrith last week. Would have changed it, but I don't think Panthers would have lost. I think Panthers would have still won regardless. And as for Knights, Hastings re-aggravated his ankle, so he'll be out. I believe Adam Clune will come into the side, and I think that's the only change for the Knights. And as for the Warriors, other than Tadare Martin will go to 5'8". Johnson will be back for halfback, and Dylan Walker will go back on the bench, and I think Freddie Lussick will go into the reserves. But other than that, this one should be a stellar game, and the better of the 2 games for the semi-finals. For this game though, I'm still believing the faithful Warriors. I think they'll go through this easily. I'm going to go Warriors by 1 point, golden point, 25-24 scoreline. You heard that right. If I get this right, I'm gonna blow it. Warriors to win by 1 point, extra time, and then finish at the 90 minutes, because we have to obviously finish the 10 minutes of extra time or whatever it is. But anyways, Warriors to win by 1. It's gonna be crackjack. And as for the custom finals as well, the Rabbits beat the Warriors. The Eels beat the Roosters. So Roosters' 11-game winning streak came to an end, or 12. Panthers beat the Cowboys, and the Tigers thrashed the Dolphins. So Eels will take on the Tigers. Warriors will take. Roosters will take on the Tigers. At Allianz, and Panthers will take on the Warriors. For the custom finals. So I'll do those games throughout the week as well. But anyways, everyone, that will conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss out on another video like this. I will be changing the channel a bit around in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that as well. I'm not going to say what it is, but you guys will know eventually. But anyways, everyone, thank you for watching this so much, for watching this video. I'll see you all in the Super League video tomorrow. Anyways, see you next time.